because Betty, and I'm sorry, I forgive me, y'all. I realized y'all could not hear me for the first 10 seconds because my mic was off. So I said, welcome to another episode of Unleashing the Future of Work, a guy podcast, live and direct from Oakland, beautiful, sunny California. If you are tuning in, please let me know where you're tuning in from, whether it be Virginia, Chicago, the UK. Let us know right now live and say hi, show some love, and we'll show you love right back in the comments. Today, I am joined by a phenomenal, awesome special guest who I've had the pleasure to know for a few months, always, I think even up to about a year now, and I've been connected with for quite some time. Betty Hart is passionate about designing innovative experiences to make a social impact in the future of work. She's extremely passionate and about empowering people, building professional relationships, and serving diverse communities, motivated by futuristic ideas, social impact, entrepreneurial thinking, and collaborative creativity, as well as human-centered solutions that advance personal and professional growth. She is the program manager working on future of work research, development, and career focused programming for Illinois Mathematics and Science Academy, y'all. Really transforming the world of education. Illinois Mathematics and Science Academy, Steve and Jamie Chen Center for Innovation. So we're going to dive deep on that and talk to a little bit more about innovation, the future of work, all of the things that she's doing around education, how she became passionate about it as a mother, as well as a thought leader in this space. And you all are going to get a chance to talk with her and ask her questions about the state of the world, where she sees the future going, and what she recommends you to do if you want to co-create this future that we're living in into a more abundant future. So with that said, I would love to bring on Betty. Hey, Betty.
Hey, friend.
Hey, how are you?
I'm great.
Yeah,
I have this little command post situation on the other side of me here because I'm also hosting a game development camp for students. So that's happening right over here while I'm doing this. So, yeah.
You're always into cool stuff like this. So I would love for you to share with us and our amazing guy community, how long you've been doing the work you do in education.
I've only been in education about 4 years now.
Wow.
And how I came about that is, my story of transitioning careers, right? So my background is workforce development. I've worked in transition and employment, working with veterans and their families as they transition out of uniform, out of service. Myself and my husband were veterans at one time and are serving in the Air Force at one time. And so he took a job here in Chicago, and I was like, why would you take me back home? I mean, I love where I'm from, but I really like California. So we were living out in Northern California at the time. And it was kind of difficult for him to find steady work. So we took a job back here, and right down the street was this amazing school. And I was like, one of my daughters is gifted and talented. And I was like, she can go to this school. And I was like, wait a minute, they have this really cool job. I should apply for it. And bam, I got it. And I've been doing it ever since, and I love it.
Wow, look at that. And that's serendipitous right there.
Yeah. I was like, I got it before you, girl.
Where does your passion for the work that you do root from? I would love for you to, share with us in the community. Walk us back through, for Betty, at what moment did she realize, oh, this is the work that I want to be doing?
I just believe, so I always share this story, no matter what audience I'm talking to. When I was growing up on the south side of Chicago, my father told me I was a jack of all trades and a master of none. So some of you can relate to this, right? So I didn't know at the time what that meant, but I was like, I want to be a singer and a dancer and a hairdresser and all these artistic things. And he was like, girl, make up your mind. You're going to go to the military. You know what you want to do. I was like, you know what? I'm going to give it a try. So I was in the military. I had 3 different jobs. I kept transitioning. And what happened was I realized that I just love people, and I love empowering people, and I love giving them that aha moment. So everything I did was in a way me giving back to someone or doing something of service. And so I ended up earning my master's degree in human behavior, studying people. I love, people. And it turned out that there was this amazing internship opportunity in the federal government. And I applied for it and I learned everything and all things about a lot of things. So the irony about being a jack of all trades is that this one job that I had required me to do like 7 other jobs anyway. So I had to wear many hats. And so I was just like, okay, this is literally what I want to do. I want to keep building upon this concept of having all these skills and giving
Mm.
people skills and training people. So that's how I came to be.
Yeah, I think what's so interesting about people that are jack of all trades and are kind of these perpetual creatives is what I try to
Mhm.
often call it. People who can do many different things and do it in a very seamless way, and that they often they're the most creative people, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So and there's a lot of work that you do around design thinking and designing kind of very
Mhm.
innovative experiences for educators as well as students. I want you to speak to how important do you think creativity is for the future of work?
Oh, number one. Absolutely. Number one. I mean, I was just looking at some stuff last night and I follow this amazing organization called Cognizant. They have a center for the future of work, and they
Mm,
published this white paper a few years back called 21 Jobs of the Future. And then they actually have 2 versions of it. And what's so phenomenal about this white paper, this research, is that they created jobs that don't even exist yet based on the
mm,
research that they've done globally. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is really cool because I work with students and I still, in a way, coach our veterans who are out in transition. Like I get
mm,
invites every day from LinkedIn, like veterans, and I'm telling them like you literally can create your job.
mm.
That's what I'm doing right now, and this was happenstance, like you said, serendipitous. I end up in this job called the Innovation Program Manager, and when I get there, they're like, okay, dude, create something, and I'm like, you don't even know who you're talking to right now. Like I'm in the playground. So the beauty about the future work is that you can be creative and create your opportunities. Like
Mm.
I was looking at a job at Google yesterday and it was called people management or something like that. And
Yep,
I was like, what
those
is
are
that?
definitely roles.
That's just a new name for an HR manager. And I'm like, now they're recreating the job titles. So being a creative in this space that's chaotic to me is opportunistic. Like I love it.
Mm. I want to ask you because COVID-19 has really shifted things for so many people, millions of people actually. And it's definitely affected people in low income communities, people of color. How do you see careers changing in the future of work due to things such as COVID-19? Also, to your point, where now we're seeing more roles around that require creative intelligence being
Mhm.
pivoted to like people
Mhm.
manager roles, like at Google, and requiring people with really diverse skill sets, not just like one skill set. So, how do you think careers are now shifting given what's going on with the world?
Well, I think that the research that I follow, I try to put it all together in bite-sized pieces that I want to overwhelm the audience that I serve, which is the youth, right? Because they
Yeah.
are the future of work in a sense. So some of the research that I've come across, I mean, everything you see now is like technology. It's
Yeah.
the fifth industrial revolution, and technology is taking over the world, and it's a robot apocalypse, and all this stuff. But the
Yeah.
reality is, we're still going to need human-centered services. We're going to need
Mm.
some humanistic element to these things. So I attended this seminar with executives recently. I want to say fairly recently, right before COVID. I don't know. All the days are blurred together now.
They
But
are.
anyway, in this conference, they made such a good point. They were saying that once upon a time, we used to have bank tellers, right?
Mm.
And then all of a sudden, you can just go to the ATM, and people are like, oh, all the bank teller jobs are going to go away. But what happened is we got creative and innovative, and we redesigned and we reimagined the work of these folks. So we didn't have to release all the bank tellers. I mean, there's still a few, right? But
Mm.
we create new roles within the organization or within the industry for those people. So I guess my point is that you're not going to know what your job is going to be next year, not even tomorrow. But
Mm.
look at the trends, follow the trends. What's happening in AI? What's happening in user design experiences? What's happening in technology and cloud computing? And I know for me, I'm a little tech challenged, Tim. You already noticed because I was like blowing your messages. I'm like, where do I log in? But I say that to say I follow the trends that relate to my career path. I follow
Mm.
the trends and like I said, people manager, when I'm looking at this job, I'm like, oh my gosh, I totally do that right now. So I get it. So you have to start doing the research that relates to the trend that you're interested in, the industry that you're interested in.
Mm. And it's so interesting because I think one of the hardest things in our careers is to follow the trend, because some people don't realize how to read the trends, right? And to read
Hmm.
the patterns and read the themes of what are the shifts happening? Am I going to in-demand roles? How can I make sure that I have the credibility and the skills in order to do that? And, for us, even with Guide, that's where we see we're really addressing a gap there in terms of upskilling. You know, how do you think, because I've talked to you about this before in many of our conversations, it's that transition, right, where people struggle. They just don't
Yeah,
know how to transition and pivot accordingly.
mm-mm.
And you've done it before in your career. So,
Many
why,
times.
yeah, many times. Why do you think
Hmm.
people struggle with that? And how can people manage the transition aspect of it all?
Yeah, so I want to go back to that creative piece, right? So
Yeah.
I've been blessed with that skill, that gift. Like I see the world so
Mm,
differently. When there's chaos, to me, there's opportunity. It's like you're all running this way, but I want to pause for a second and see what's going on. And maybe that's part of my military training. Maybe it's part of me growing up on the south side of Chicago. I had to be very vigilant with my surroundings. I don't know, but I've always seen the world slightly different, a little matrixy, right?
yeah.
Um, so to me, when it comes to transitioning, like for the first half of my career, I was forced into transition. Being a
Mm,
military spouse and being a military member, we were forced into transitioning. So I had to average every 3 or 4 years, I had to, reinvent myself. And so that taught me resilience and persistence. And
mm,
so I never kind of wait around for things to happen to me because I knew it was coming. So I always had a plan. And I would give this advice to anyone: always have a plan A, B, C. And sometimes you have to have a plan D just in case if you have bills to pay and mouths to feed, right? You got to do what you got to do. So don't let things happen to you. Try to plan things out. Tell people what your intentions are,
mm,
build that network. And I mean, I've learned in the last 4 years that the same advice and the same tools and the same resources that I would share with military folks relate to students as well. Even if they're going to college, if they're going into a career, all of these tips and advice, everyone says the same thing, but it relates to any genre, any generation. Always
mm,
have a plan, let people know what your intentions are, and have some affirmations for yourself too, because the world's going to give you way more no's than they are going to be yeses. And I know for students and young folks, and especially as a mom of two teenagers, it's hard to hear those no's in the beginning. I mean, I tell them no about stuff all the time, then they go ask dad. But but hearing no when you really had your heart set on something, you want to become something, get your foot in the door, it's really, really hard. So I
mm.
try to teach my daughters to, have some self actualization and do some affirmations. Like there's this cute little video of this little girl. If you guys haven't seen it yet, she's in the mirror. She's like, "You're amazing and you're great." I mean, you can go to that level if you want to. It's adorable. And I'm like, you know what? But you have to do that sometimes, just
Mm,
to, especially with what's going on. Like where I work right now, we're in this process of having to let some folks go, and it's a hard decision. But and we knew it was coming, but we just didn't know how it was coming,
mm.
right? And so I come from the school of don't let things happen to you, make them happen.
Mm. You know what?
That was like the long version.
No, 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 no. I love that because what you're doing is you're painting a picture of someone with a growth, abundance, and mindset who's leveraging their creative intelligence to understand, okay, how can I design my career? And you speak a lot about kind of design thinking and the future of work.
Hmm.
So I think you're definitely speaking to people who need to hear this. Is how I feel. For you,
Hmm.
Betty, I want to ask you, right, because you have been someone that's mastered how to do this, and I want to show love to our amazing viewers. Hey, Vivek. Hey, Pravina. Hey, Angelica. Hey, Vivek. If you all are loving what Betty is dishing out and sharing with us right now, and all of her abundant, amazing energy, please, please, please share this video with your network and your community on LinkedIn. And feel free to tag Betty on LinkedIn and add some notes on what you're learning from her, please. And definitely show her some love on her LinkedIn. Betty, it's I think, like, are there books that you've read that can teach people what you know?
I mean, you can have you can read every book in the world
Yeah.
and have a wealth of knowledge, but at the end of the day, it's your life experience. To
Mm,
me, that resonates. It's where you're from, what your culture is, who you're surrounding yourself with, the people that are in your circle and in your prayer circle. I'm a very spiritual woman. And
Yeah.
so I try to read books that align with my values and my morals and my goals. And
Mm.
so I can't like really reference a particular book right now because I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't like to read. I like to read like bite-sized pieces of things. Like I like to read articles and read, just short reads.
Yeah.
Anything under 14 minutes is good with me.
No, and that's how
I
most
love
people are.
I love to give you a book to read, but I'm sure everyone's reading something that relates to them. So please post that in the comments and share back the books that you're reading because there's
Yeah.
so much. It's an abundance of information out there. So it's really what aligns with you and your growth.
I love that. I love that, Betty. So, let's speak a little bit about leadership, because you do a really great
Hmm.
job of one, showcasing your leadership traits as well as building an amazing brand and community around yourself on platforms like LinkedIn. You know, leadership and adaptation around the future of work. What are your thoughts on that? How do you see leaders learning how to adapt when they're facing challenges in a post COVID-19 world?
Yeah, thank you for asking that because I actually just had a really great conversation with my boss. I'm gonna give him a shout out, Dr. Norman Storm Robinson. Mad
Woo!
love. But
Mad
anyway, so
love.
I had my feed. I put that as a preference just in case he's watching. But I had a really great feedback session with him, and so I work at a school, right? And we are closed through the fall, and so everything's very uncertain right now, and there's a lot of instability per se. And so had a feedback session with him and he marked me down in the leadership area. I mean, let's talk about it. And I
Yeah.
was like, hold on a second. And so he put a comment in there basically saying, like, when I have the opportunity to rise to the occasion, I should. And I'm paraphrasing it. And so I'm gonna say I challenged him on it, but I was like, let's talk about this really quickly because there is a space for me where I do want to grow and
Mm,
I do want to get into higher level supervisory role. So what am I not doing? And he was
mm.
like, well, you need to kind of like get in there. And I said, well,
What does
I
that
have more
mean?
of a like get in there, like don't be a punk. And I was like, oh no, he didn't call me a punk, but he's just basically saying like be more assertive in a sense in a spaces
Mm,
where and I said, I do have the vote of confidence of my peers. So that gives me some confidence in that I am ready for the next level for the promotion. And I said, as a matter of fact, I identify a lot with empathetic leaders, if you're familiar with that term,
I
or
am.
transformational leaders, right? Like I don't have to be assertive or
Mm,
the way women are often portrayed in managerial leadership roles. I don't have to be that way. I'm empathetic. I like to identify with what your needs are and how can I empower you to get to the next level. I like to build trust and try to give some kind of stability when there is instability. So we had a really great fruitful conversation and I helped him kind of reframe and change his thought on who he thought I was as a leader. And he was like, oh my gosh, yeah, I'm so here you go. I'm gonna mark you up in that. So when it comes to leaders, especially in this uncertain time,
mm,
you definitely have to start that trust has to be built. Like, we're all working from home, or most of us are still working from home. And so that trust level has to be there that we're getting stuff done and
mm.
that we're working at our capacity in our environments because our environments are very different. Like some of us have small kids, some of us have small pets, some of us have ill parents. Like
Mm,
just trust that I'm going to get it done. It may not be the average normal 9 to 5, but it's going to get done.
yeah.
And then have some compassion about my circumstances too. Like I may not have the resources that some other people have to do the job, and be open in a communication about the stability of as much as you can about what's happening in our organization. So again, and not to kind of like put it all out there, but a lot of people are getting let go, they're getting
Yeah.
furloughed, or they're getting fired. And so any kind of way that you can support the inevitable, please let me know and share that back. And then just be open and transparent in your communication. And then that to me will establish a hope in that I can I can fly. If this boat sinks, I can still fly high and I can keep it moving.
I love that. Compassion, showing transparency in your communication style, and not being afraid to be bold.
Hmm.
It's rare because those are actually the key leadership traits that I actually have in the book that I'm currently working on. Compassion, being bold, literally key
Yeah.
leadership habits. right? That allow anyone to be dynamic leaders given these times. Betty, I'm really thankful that you're on. And I think so much of what you're sharing, your wisdom, a lot of people are reading thousands and thousands of books on it, but you're actually sharing it with us live. So we appreciate you for that. Where do you see us going as a society, given all of the things going on with the world, from, the Black Lives Matter movement to us rethinking how we're defining leadership at a high level and us being more global citizens, even online? Yeah. Where do you see us going as a society in terms of work and life?
Yeah, well, I'm glad you asked that, because I have this conversation with my daughters all the time about what is the universe telling us with this COVID thing. And, I usually jokingly say it's the best of times and it's the worst of times. And this is no disrespect to the impact of COVID, but it's really, I feel like the universe is saying, I need you to have several seats for a second. And I need you to come back to center about what's happening in your life, what's happening in your neighborhood, what's happening in your work. Like, really just take this moment, take advantage of this moment, dare I say, to come back to center with what truly is in line with your morals and your values about how you proceed as a human. Yeah. And then from there, doors will open and opportunities will come to play. So during this COVID time, I people are getting into a lot of stuff, right? Like, they're either exercising or they're not.
Right?
No shade, no tea.
No shade, no tea.
I mean, I've had my moments. Yeah. But, people are doing like home improvements and they're baking and all this stuff. I got into planting. I got into gardening. I never had a green thumb. Never. I killed succulents. Okay? That's bad. So anyway, I got into gardening, and it's just such a beautiful metaphor with gardening when you think about how you take this plant that this was once a seed and you repot it or you restore it into another situation, you transition it, right? And depending on the environment that it goes into, it may or may not flourish. And so I approach these circumstances just like that right now. I look at this COVID situation like, I'm so grateful to be working from home. This is like a dream come true, but sometimes you don't realize what you're asking for. And it's like, dang, okay. Now, what does this look like now that we're going into the fall? We're going to still be home. Like, what does this look like? How do I build relationships and make an impact virtually with students and things? And so when I think about when I'm doing my gardening, I always have these aha moments, these spiritual moments of how everything relates and how the universe kind of comes full circle. And it's so cyclical from the plant to the person. It's like so cyclical how everything is connected, and try to answer the why. Why are we going through this? Why are we enduring this? How long will we have to endure it? Yeah. And then what's next when it's over? Because it can truly be over tomorrow. Yeah. Then what? What do I do next? So my advice to my daughters is, again, going back to having a plan. Like, what if this lasts longer than we expect? What if we go back into shutdown? Or what if it lifts and everything is like, boom, it never happened. The cloud is gone. The smoke is gone. What do you do next? So that would be, my tip and my advice, my wisdom nugget would be, what are you going to do next with this? And I'm going to say when it's over, because I'm going to go on and claim that when it's over, what do you do next?
That's a powerful, powerful challenge. Hey, I hope y'all are writing that down. When this is all over, what are you going to do next? Let us know in the comments. And I'm about to show so many of you all love, because so many of you all are tuning in and showing out and showing Betty all kinds of love right now. Sarah, what's up? I hope you're doing well, my friend. Please share this with your network if you are tuning in and you're loving what Betty Hart is saying. Sarah's saying, amazing how even the subtle everyday tasks like gardening can reinforce our interests and values. How you feeling about that, Betty?
I love gardening. My husband hates it right now. He's like, you're turning my house into a forest. I'm like, you know what? There's so many beautiful plants out there, and they all have different purposes and different seasons. Yeah. And different, just to me, I look at them like little people now. Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna tell you how many I bought recently, but no, I use that metaphor again just to kind of relate to what's happening even in our society and with Black Lives Matter, and how people are feeling about that, how they're processing that, having these conversations, then having these conversations with my daughters to make sure that they're good citizens with this responsibility of being young Black women, because we are, Black women. And so how are you going into the world and sowing these seeds as young women within your own groups and within your culture, really? Because these kids, I would say these kids nowadays, but I'm gonna age myself, so I'm not gonna say
Yeah.
that, but they have such immense power. It's a little bit scary, and they really don't understand the power that they have through social media. In
Mm.
my day, we didn't have social media, but I just posted something about that too, on my LinkedIn page, about how TikTok is really watching our mannerisms and how we engage with one another. They're taking that information. Didn't something just come out today about Facebook accidentally releasing our data? Like, people are watching us. These millennials and these Gen Zers are putting information out there, but people are watching how we interact with one another and
Mm.
using that to compile, who knows?
Yeah. No,
But
no.
yeah,
Perspectives on who you are
yeah,
and then
yeah.
target you and things of that nature. It's so true.
Yeah.
It's so true.
So I raise my daughters with the golden rule: treat others how you want to be treated.
Mm.
And so, going back to the plant thing, like I turn what I do into a life lesson.
Mm. So brother Lloyd Weru is saying where they're from and where he's at, they're all about real-time solutions. What can they do now in present day to
Yes.
transform the environment and places around them? So shout out to you, brother Lloyd Weru. Let us know where you're tuning in from, my brother. We appreciate you. So a LinkedIn user who I cannot see her name, but I believe her name is Edith. Hey Edith, who's a proud Dallas County community C clerk. I don't know, because it's cut off in your LinkedIn bio. She's actually just relaying and echoing what you said about open and transparent in the communication, compassion, and boldness, the key to great leadership. Love it. It seems as if Edith is a great leader herself. She is showing love to you, Betty. Shout out to you, Edith. I hope you're applying those skills in the work that you're doing. So my amazing friend, Mr. Pop Health Guy, is saying, great topic, Tim. Thank you, my brother. I hope you're well out in Seattle, Washington. I hope you and the family are doing well and abundant, my friend. So I want to show love to Shalika, who's saying, yes, self-reflection is everything. And, Betty, I would love for you to share, how do you go about self-reflecting? You seem to be the type of person that's journaling every single day.
No, it's in my head. No, I always start my day. I always start my day with some meditation, and try to put that energy back out into the world and just be grateful, right? Gratitude is the new attitude, honey. So just be grateful. Like, there's so many things that are coming our way, so much noise, so much narrative, so much negativity. Like, again, I live in the Chicago area, and I turned my TV off purposefully because the news can be just so depressing. And this is no disrespect to anybody that watches the news or knows somebody as a newscaster. Like, that's great. I love y'all. But I gotta turn the narrative off and kind of just reset. Like, what am I receiving and what am I putting out there? So I always start my day with a meditation and some coffee. And then I sit outside on the porch with my husband and we have a conversation. And then we go about our day.
Yeah, really recalibrating your frequency.
Yeah.
I love that, Betty. I love that because I am the same exact way, really mindful about what I consume as well as what I emit out into the world in terms of my energy. So shout out to my lovely friend Vivek, who's saying, here I'm taking liberty and sharing my company's website. Shout out to you, my friend. Have a look. Very nice conversation going on. Thank you, Tim and Betty. So Vivek is saying, I'm trying to do business. If you're interested in doing business with me.
I ain't mad at your hustle, Vivek.
Shout out to you, Vivek. Check it out. And we're all about that in our guide community. If you can help each other out, please help our brother Vivek out. And he's loving what Betty is saying. Betty, it was truly an honor having you on the podcast today. I want to ask you in nutshell, where is the future of work going?
China.
Okay, I can see that. Why?
I mean, you can go read my little blurb on LinkedIn, but no, I say that like jokingly, but honestly, y'all need to be watching China because they coming for us. But the children, the youth, like we can't forget. My husband made a really good point the other day, and that's my daughter cooking in the kitchen. Like she's a chef.
The
If you
next
hear some
normal.
like pots and pans back there, mama raised her well. I'll take 2 eggs over easy. No, I'm just kidding. But no, the kids, man, like I love working with the youth has given me a newfound sense of my own childlike,
Hmm.
wisdom and interest and excitement about the world. And I try to see things through their eyes as much as possible, but really taking our gifts and talents and pouring it into them and quickly because they are not going to wait. Their attention span is very short, as
Yep.
you can see with all the apps that are out there. But and just giving them the space also to lead. Like I believe in intergenerational learning. Like you can learn a lot from them and they're going to learn a lot from you. You can't hog all the knowledge. What we're experiencing right now with this virtual learning and this virtual situation is very evident and clear that they're not going to wait on us for very long. We cannot no longer be the holders of wisdom and knowledge. We have to share that space with them and grow together. So that's where the future of work is going, the kids.
I love it. The next generation of talent. I love
Mhm.
it, Betty. Betty, it's truly an honor.
Thank
Where
you.
can our amazing community follow you and be a part of the movement that you're building?
I try to be as active as possible on LinkedIn. I like for it to be a professional space. So I'm just going to put this out there. It's LinkedIn, not link up. I'm trying to holla in the DMs. I don't do that. But I keep LinkedIn as like my top. And then I'll communicate here and there on like, I don't really have a Twitter, I ain't gonna lie. But
Yeah.
I'll put some like work related stuff on Facebook. Like honestly, I've just, like I said, I'm trying to recalibrate and come off of some of these social media pages because there's just too much noise for me right now. So I need to diet from certain
Do a
things.
detox. Shout out to you. Shout out to you. Thank you so
So
much.
LinkedIn.
Thank you so much, Betty. So the
Yeah.
last word of the day goes to our amazing Sarah Rogers, who's saying, love that, sharing the space of sharing wisdom and knowledge. Betty, we need to have you on a future episode.
Okay.
Yeah?
You know
Yeah?
what we should do? We need to have a youth one. So we'll bring my daughters on and you bring some of your friends on. We need
Okay.
to have a youth version. I'm just trying to like really advocate for the kids right now because
Yeah. I
yeah,
love that.
I'm not trying to be put in a nursing home. That's why.
No, we need to listen to the kids, Betty. We need to listen to the
Yeah.
kids. I love that. Let's do it. Let's
Yeah.
do it. Let's plan it.
Let's
Let's
do
co-create
it.
it.
Yes.
Appreciate you, Betty. We'll talk soon,
Thank you,
okay?
friend. All right. Take
All right.
care.
Bye. With that said, that was today's awesome episode of Unleashing the Future of Work, a guy podcast live. Man, wasn't that amazing? Isn't Betty a gem and genius? Y'all, please make sure to connect with her and the movement that she's building. And also, we want to announce Guide launched this week. We are gradually onboarding amazing creators like Betty on our amazing platform. If you want to be a part of the movement that we're building, please check out guideapp.co. Check out guideapp.co. Sign up for early beta for Guide. And please, if you have somebody in mind that you think I should have on the Unleashing the Future of Work, a Guide podcast live, let me know. I'm more than happy to give them our platform and allow them to shout out and build their movement. With that said, I love you all. Peace, love, abundance, and please be well. I know times are tough right now, but stay strong and understand that you can get through anything with resilience, calm, and resolve. With that said, talk to you all soon. Peace.